So the new girl raised her hand and she's like, undefined. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. Yo, like at that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, like God, I don't know what is this. I'm being tested, and I don't like this. I don't like competition. What is happening? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well and that everything is going accordingly. My name is Dabea, Phetlha, for those who are new, and for those who are returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So today we are talking about self-doubt. This is a very complex topic because some people think that self-doubt is a good thing, simply because they think that, you know, when you are doubting yourself, it makes you human because you are questioning things before you do them, or you've been cautious, you know, about literally everything, and because you do that simply because you know that you can't know everything. So when you are doubting and asking yourself questions, you know, and things like that, they believe that, you know, it helps you to be human, while others think that doubt is bad because it leads to self-destruction, you know, because I remember when I was in middle school, grade 9 more particularly, so I used to be a hard worker. Like from a young age I used to work very hard, and that was so advantageous to me because then it helped me to be on top 10, and it was a good feeling, you know, knowing that I'm one of the best learners in school. It gives you kind of confidence. So, with that being said, I remember there was a new girl in our school, right? And I think she was from town. And you know, when you hear that somebody's from town, she's going to be joining your school, the first thing that you think of is my position going to be preserved? Because they say this person is from town, she is probably more privileged, you know, they have been doing things that we probably not aware of, or that we probably did not do at school, right? So yeah, I was a bit worried. So first day came, we went to school, and fast forward, I remember it was math, right? It was time for math, and we went to class, and then we took out our books. I remember the time or that day, our teacher was doing, you know, quotients, was doing sums and differences, and that was a very new concept to me. And like, he went there on the board and he wrote a sum. It's like, what's a number divided by 0? And in my heart, I'm like, that's a syntax error. I mean, I've never heard of such, but I think that's an error. I mean, does he want us to raise our hands and say it's an error or what? Right? So I think nobody raised their hand. So the new girl raised her hand and she's like, undefined. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. Yo, like at that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, like God, I don't know what is this. I'm being tested, and I don't like this. I don't like competition. What is happening? But that brought this feeling of doubt. You know, I remember that day I went home. I was with my friend, walking home, and we were talking about. We were like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it seems like we have a competition. You know, we need to pull up our sets. And I remember that day when I went home, literally I studied. Like, I made sure that I was always ahead of the teacher. And I was like, you know what? This is not what I want. I don't want this. Like, guys, I don't like competition. And at the time, we knew that at least top 4, top 5, it was people that we know, right? We knew each other and we were comfortable even if we were alternating positions. But when a stranger comes in and the person wants to take your position, like, nah. And I think that is part of a good self-doubt, you know, because it helped me to be better. You know, it propelled me to expand my studying horizons, to say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure that I am always ahead of my teacher. So it helped me to expand my study strategies, and that is what I can say, that is a good self-doubt. And I think every time when you start doubting yourself, you should ask yourself a question and say, what is this doubt leading me to? Is it leading me into a path that is going to lead into self-distraction, or is it leading me into a path that is going to make me a better person, that is going to make me to be confident, that is going to not make my sky the limit, but make me to push beyond that? And I think a good self-doubt makes you to be that. It makes you to be the best version of myself, because trust me, I became the best version of myself because I was like, nah, I can't. Moving on, there is another self-doubt that is bad, and I think this is the kind of self-doubt that the Bible is talking about when it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I think this is the kind of doubt that makes you to question your ability. It makes you to question, the promises of God about your life. It makes you to question your worth, and you feel like you're just not worth it. You feel like you are not. You feel like you're just not ready, or you're just not prepared, for certain tasks. You feel like certain things are for certain people and not for you, or good things are only meant for certain people and not for you. This is the kind of self-doubt that is bad that I'm talking about. And I think the Bible further explains it, and I think this is the root of doubt. The scripture that I'm going to read is from Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. And I think this is the root of doubt. This is the first recorded doubt in the Bible, in Genesis, right? Or the first time when I think doubt was recorded. And it reads, it's from English Standard Version, and it reads, "Now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast of the field that the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, 'Did God actually say, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden?'" Now, this is a question that was asked by the serpent, or the enemy, or the devil, to Eve, right? God had just created everything that he created, and he gave instructions to Adam, right? And the serpent comes to Eve and he's like, "Did God actually say it?" And I think this is what the enemy does. The enemy knows that he can't challenge God. He knows that he can't block God from blessing you, but he can definitely block you from seeing the blessings of God. He can block your side from seeing what God has done in your life. And that is why he brings these voices. It might be coming from around, and sometimes we allow them inside. Oh, these people telling us negative things, or sometimes we doubt ourselves. When things are just not going well, you think this is the end. You think, "I'm not worth it." There's this voice in you that is telling you that you can actually pursue a degree at Brits, or you can pursue a degree at UCT or at UP, but there's this other voice that says, "Can you? Like, did you look at yourself? Like, yourself a degree?" And I think that is how the enemy works, right? He knows that he can't do anything from God's side, but he can come into you and start to question you, right? And say, "Did God say that?" That is what he does. He makes you to stop believing. He makes you to stop seeing what God has already provided. He makes you to stop seeing the blessings that God has given you, or that he has put before you. And that is the enemy. That is the plans of the enemy. So every time when you are every time when you start doubting yourself, every time when you think that, "I'm not worth it, I can't do it, I'm not meant for that," just know that this is the plan of the enemy. He couldn't do anything to stop God from blessing you, but he can definitely stop you from seeing what God has already done in your life. He can stop you from seeing the love of God. He can stop you from thinking or knowing that, what, you can actually accomplish it. He can take away that conviction that God has given you. And I love what Denzel Washington once said, and I quote, it says, "True desire in the heart, for anything good, is God's proof before you set beforehand to indicate that it is yours. And I love this so much. And it means that if you have a desire in your heart and it's good, that is God's proof, that was set before you to indicate that whatever it is that you have a desire for, it's already yours. So why are we allowing the enemy, why are we allowing the serpent to come into our lives to make us, or why are we allowing the enemy or the serpent to come into our lives to confuse us or to make us doubt, the plans that God has done for us? I mean, you have the desire. And I always say that just because you can dream it, it means that you can have it. It means that it's yours because you can see it, you can open your eyes, you can dream about it. It is yours. You just need to manifest it. And I'm sitting here and I'm telling you guys that we should stop this doubt. We should stop this kind of doubt, because I said there's a good doubt and there's a bad doubt. But you should be asking yourself before you start doubting yourself, and you should ask yourself and say, where is this doubt leading me to? Is it making me better? Or is it making me, or is it leading me into a road that's going to be too difficult for me to come back from? Because then I won't be feeling good about myself. It's going to lead you into depression. You're gonna stop loving yourself, and things like that. So I think you should really ask yourself, if you feel like the thoughts that you are having in your mind, they are leading you into a path that is going to be difficult for you to come back from, and stop them. Stop it, like, as soon as possible. There's this book that I just finished reading. It's the title of the book is Find Your Brave. And it talks about being able to maneuver around your challenges, being able to stand out and stand up, in your challenges. And the lady advises us that some of the things that you should be doing, or the first step that you should be doing, is to be intentional about your thoughts. She says that you can control the first thought that comes to your mind, but you can definitely control the second thought. And that is what I'm saying to you, that there are certain thoughts that you can't control when they first come into your mind. But the second one is obviously, but the second one is, it's intentional. You can control it, you can stop it. So yeah, I think that is just about it. So guys, let's just be intentional, about our thoughts. Be intentional about the things that you're exposing your mind to, and know that anything that is bad, it was planted by the enemy, and he wants to stop me from seeing what God has already done in my life. So yeah, that is just about it. I will see you next time.